How to set goals like a millionaire. Do you have big dreams and goals you're working to achieve? Are you working hard on your goals, but you're wondering if you're doing things the best way? If you want to set goals the way successful people do, you're in the right place, because in this video, I'm going to show you how to set goals like a millionaire. Hey, CourtneyLSanders here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, I'm a full-time life and business coach as well as wife and mom. I wear all the hats and do all the things. And this is super weird to say, like, not trying to flex. I promise you, I'm not going to be in every video saying this, but I'm also a millionaire. I feel like I have to whisper that. I'm a millionaire, right? But it's only relevant because I'm creating a video about how to set goals like a millionaire. How to set goals like me. No, but this goal setting process, I actually learned from another millionaire. I actually didn't meet him in person, but it's a book. In fact, I think it's on my shelf right here. Oh, it's an old book, but it's good. It's called Mentored by a Millionaire by Stephen K. Scott. And he goes over this goal setting process that I'm going to share with you. So definitely check out that book. I'll make sure that we include the link on Amazon or something like that. But you know, I had to put my CLS spin on it, and so this has really helped me. But I know that I wouldn't have been able to achieve any of the dreams that I've been able to achieve. In fact, I talk about that in detail in my other video, how to create the life of your dreams as a woman entrepreneur. In the other video, I show you how I did it, but in this video, I want to show you how to do it for yourself. So if you're ready, we'll jump into it right now. All right, so the first thing you need to do if you want to set goals like a millionaire is you need to decide on your dreams. This is really key. So I'm going to walk you through this process, but you're going to see how everything trickles down. So we're going to get to like literally what you're going to be doing every single day. But the first thing that you need to figure out are, what are your dreams? And I say this because I find that many adults, I'm in my 30s, especially by the time you get to my age, have kind of let go of their dreams, which is really sad. You have dreams when you're growing up as a child, as a teenager, you know, you think you're going to do all these things in your 20s. You might be still really ambitious and wanting to go after it. But I find after, you know, rent, mortgage, a few kids, you know, marriage, whatever, it's kind of like life kicks the motivation out of you and you start to ratchet down your dreams and start to think less about what's possible. And so you go from dreaming big and wanting to achieve all these great things to basically just wanting to get by, or just to get a little better than get by. Like, oh, if we could just save a little bit of money. Oh, if we can just go, you know, on one, you know, vacation, you know, to this place not too far from our hometown, it won't be a big deal. You know, we stop thinking about, you know, traveling the world and changing lives and doing all of these big things. So I'm inviting you in this process, if you want to set goals like a millionaire, don't give me the half-hearted, you know, lukewarm dreams that you've settled on after, you know, letting life beat you up and think that it's not possible. No. I need you to decide on those big dreams that you're scared to even articulate, let alone write down, because you don't even know if it's possible. It will be possible after this process. So go ahead and write those down, decide on your dreams. So one example that I'll give for the sake of this video, this is a real dream of mine. I have a dream of living a tri-continental lifestyle. So I've been traveling all over the world, courtesy first of my husband and his job, because he traveled a lot for his former position. But now for me and my business, one of the great perks of being a business is that I get access to business credit cards with business points. And so I talk all about that in my other video, how to travel the world for free using business credit cards. We recently just got back from an amazing vacation to both Dubai and Tel Aviv. We flew business class on Emirates. So I love traveling, right? I love being all over the place, and I want to be tri-continental. So I want to have a base here in the US. I would love to have a base somewhere in Europe, maybe Barcelona or even London or both. And then I would love to have a base somewhere in Africa, maybe Ghana or South Africa or somewhere like that. So I want to be tri-continental. That's also really important for me because I want to raise, you know, globally minded, globally conscious, like cosmopolitan children, right? I don't want them to be limited just by the things that are happening here in the United States. I want them to think of themselves as, you know, global thinkers, world citizens. And when people say, hey, the world is your oyster, I want them to believe that because mama and daddy got properties, you know, all over the place, and we're living a tri-continental lifestyle. So I would love to maybe spend 6 months here in the States, maybe 3 months in South Africa or somewhere, and then 3 months in Barcelona or London or something like that. So anyway, I tell you that that's an example of a dream, right? Something really big. You're not even sure how you're going to make it happen, just something that you want, right? And this is something that you're giving yourself. No one has to see these things but you. Sometimes we come up with dreams that we think are like socially acceptable. or don't seem too selfish. But this is your process. These are your goals that you're setting. And trust me, you're gonna be working hard towards these dreams and goals once we break this down. So I want you to come up with a dream that's actually gonna motivate you. In fact, that's why we start with this first, because when we trickle this down to all the different things that you're gonna be doing, it needs to be based on something that's actually gonna motivate you. So that when you look at it, you're like, ooh, yeah, that really is a dream of mine. When I see that written down, when I'm thinking about the things I need to do today, when I see how it's connected to living a tri-continental lifestyle, it gives me the push to stay up an hour later to finish something, or to get up an hour earlier, or, to do something that, maybe I don't want to do. I want to go to bed, or, I'd rather goof off and, scroll on social media, but it gives me that push and that drive I need to actually get this done. So trust me on this. Decide on your dreams, but make them real dreams, not your lukewarm dreams. Like, come up with something that's really going to motivate you, and something that is big and lofty and that you really want to happen. Okay, the second thing that you need to do in order to set goals like a millionaire is you now need to turn your dreams into goals. And like I said, this process is based on that book, Mentored by a Millionaire, but also based on me, what I've done, and I'm a millionaire. So all of this works together, but hopefully you can see that it's almost like we're building like a funnel. Like, we start with the dreams, and now we're gonna break those dreams down into goals. So dreams are lofty, you know when you've hit it, but it might not be so concrete that you can like put a deadline on it or a certain date. I know roughly, I want to be tri-continental this decade, so before 2030, like, I would love to be tri-continental, but it's not like a hard deadline. It's just a dream. It's just something that I've always wanted to do. And so as long as I get it done in my lifetime, I will consider it a success. Now we're starting to break this down. And so now we're going to set this into a goal. And so goals are like the little building blocks of your dreams that you can actually put deadlines, and you can actually put targets to. So after you've written down your dreams, or you've decided on your dreams, I want you to think about what are the goals that you would need to hit in order to make that dream possible. So for me, I said I want to live a tri-continental lifestyle. One of the goals that I need to hit in order to make that possible is I need to purchase property in all the places that I want to live, right? And I know I could do Airbnb, and it's not necessary to own a property, but it's what I want to do. I want to own properties abroad because part of my investment strategy, all of that. So I want to own a place somewhere in Africa. I want to own a place somewhere in Europe. I think an apartment in London would be amazing, or an apartment in Barcelona. So that's a specific goal, right? It's less of a dream, because again, dreams are like lofty as long as I get it done this lifetime. Goals are like, maybe I can get that done maybe like in the next 5 years, or the next 3 years, you can start to break it down like, okay, I need to save up this amount of money, and I think that I can save this amount of money in the next 3 to 5 years, and so I'll be able to purchase my first property, right? So that's what I mean. We're breaking our dreams down into goals. Think about what are all the things that have to happen in order to make that dream possible, and start putting targets on it. Again, these are super loose. So even in my notebook or on my computer where I keep all of this, I have like loose deadlines. I'm saying like long-term goal, right? So that means I want to like own my first international property within the next 5 years. Honestly, I think I can do it sooner, within the next 3 years. So I'm like putting targets on that. Another thing that would need to happen in order for me to live a tri-continental lifestyle is, my husband would need to either get into a career that allows him to travel, or I would need to retire him, or something like that, right? So I can create a goal around, getting his career together, or making the transition in his career in order to make that happen. So again, you're just brainstorm, like, of each dream, what are all the things, all the goals that I would need to hit in order to make that happen, and then write those down. And then we go into the third part. Okay, we're gonna get into the third step in just a second, but first I wanna hear from you. What are some of your dreams and goals? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. All right, the third thing that we need to do after we've come up with our dreams and our goals is we need to turn our goals into projects. So now we're breaking them down even smaller. It's a project if it has multiple to-do items, right? So goals are like building blocks that build up our dreams, and projects are the building blocks that build up our goals. So for me, again, if I have a goal of, owning a property abroad, maybe I have a project, there's specific projects, things that I need to do in order to make that possible. So maybe there is a certain amount of income that I would need to hit in my business in order for that to be possible. And in order to hit that level of income, maybe I need to launch a particular product or something like that. So maybe that product launch would then be a project that I'm working on. Or if I need to start a business, let's say you're starting completely from scratch and you have this, lofty dream of traveling to all 53 countries, and one of the goals to do that is to be financially independent, maybe one of the projects that you do within that goal is starting a business, because you need to have a business in order to be financially independent, right? See how that makes sense? Or maybe one of the things that you need to do is create passive income. So a project might be to find your first investment property or first real estate property or something like that. So projects are like smaller than goals. You can get your hands around it, and it's something that you can break your goals down even more. So as you look at your goals, again, you did your dreams first and you said, what are all the things that need to happen in order to make the dreams possible? Cool. Those are your goals. Now you're looking at each goal and you're saying, okay, what are all the projects I need to tackle in order to make that happen? These are smaller. Do I need to start a business? Do I need to learn something? Do I need to create something? Like, typically these are shorter time frames, right? Typically a project is not going to take you longer than a year. Usually you're measuring projects in a series of weeks or months, right? So an 8-week project, a 4-month project. It's something where the end is in sight, right? The dreams are just like way out there. The goals, there's an end in sight, but it's like off in the future, like within the next 3 to 5 years, right? Projects are like, okay, the end's in sight. Like, I could probably get that done in 8 weeks, or I could probably get that done in 6 months or something. You're measuring it in months to weeks. So think about all the projects that you can break each goal down into. Okay, the fourth thing that you need to do in order to set goals like a millionaire, now that you have your projects, you need to turn your projects into tasks. And so this is where the rubber really meets the road. So in the previous example, I gave an example of maybe a project is you need to start a business. Start breaking down that project into all the tasks associated with achieving that thing. So if you need to start a business, you might need to come up with a business idea, come up with a business name, build your brand, find a business coach to help you, set up your social media platforms, file your business registration or LLC. Like, you see how there's all these like little tasks, open a business bank account, like all these little things that you need to do that's associated with the start of business project. You would write down all of those individual tasks, and now they're associated with that project. But hopefully you see this trickle thing, right? You have one dream that might break down into, 3 to 5 goals. And then each goal might break down into 3 to 5 projects. And then each project is breaking down. It could be 10, 20, 30 different tasks, right? And so you don't have to go after all of these goals and all these dreams and all these projects at the same time. But I do like breaking them out, because then I'm able to see what I need to prioritize. So I'm asking myself, what is the one dream that's going to help make all these other dreams possible? And I actually got that from another book. It's called The One Thing. Keller, I know he's associated or was one of the co-founders of Keller Williams Realty. I don't know, his last name is Keller. And he wrote the book, The One Thing. Is really great. And he has this thing called a focusing question, where he says, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, it makes everything either easier or unnecessary? I use that, and again, he's a millionaire, so it follows this process. I use that when determining which of my dreams I want to go after first, right? So of all the dreams I wrote, like, what's the one that if I can achieve it, it's going to make all the other dreams easier or unnecessary? Once I zero in on that dream, then I'm looking at all the goals I wrote down. What's the one goal that if I achieve that goal, it's going to make all the other goals within that dream easier or unnecessary? Great, I'm focusing on that goal. Then I'm looking at all the projects associated with that goal. What's the one project that if I complete it, it makes all the other projects either unnecessary or easier? Boom, I'm focusing on that project. And then from that project, then I'm breaking it down into all the tasks associated with that project. Again, filing your LLC, opening up a business account, like all the stuff that would be associated with a project, such as starting a business. So hopefully you can see how all of these things trickle up. I hope you do, because that leads us to the fifth point, which is to track your progress every day. So Peter Drucker said a famous quote, which is, what gets measured gets managed. And I'm a big believer in this. Now, I'm kind of nerdy. I geek out. I started college in engineering and I switched to marketing, but I still kind of have that like engineer's brain. So I keep track of all of this stuff in like spreadsheets and dashboards and like things that I build on my computer. I'm debating if I want to turn this into an actual written planner. So if you would like this process created in a paper planner, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. But basically every day I'm tracking my progress. So at the top of the week, usually on a Sunday or a Sunday evening or Monday morning, I am, kind of prioritizing my projects that are related to the goal that I'm working on, which is related to the dream that I'm working on. And I'm looking in each project and I'm writing down all of the tasks. Once I have all the tasks written down, that's my weekly to-do list. Like, my goal is to achieve all of those tasks at the end of the week. Sometimes I don't complete them all, that's fine, but at least I know like what I'm focused on. Every day, I am tracking myself, how many of those tasks that I get done associated with that project. And I'm reviewing it at the end of the week. Like, oh, you had 10 tasks to do this week. You got 7 done, not bad. What could we have done better in order to get the last 3 done? Or was it not possible? You put too many things on your to-do list, whatever. I am tracking my progress. I know this sounds kind of crazy. Again, maybe I should do this as a planner. Also, you want to check out that book that I mentioned, or both books that I mentioned previously, but I promise you, if you follow this process, you will achieve your goals so much faster. And not only will you achieve your goals so much faster, your dreams that you do achieve will be much bigger. Again, most people shrink their dreams because they don't believe it's possible for them to achieve it. But anything is possible if you break it down. And what I've just shared with you is literally the Millionaire's process for breaking down any dream into actionable steps that you could take today. All right, so everything that I shared is just one example of some of my secrets behind my $1 million brand. But if you want to know even more secrets and even more strategies for building your own $1 million brand, I invite you to sign up for my $1 million brand masterclass. This is a free masterclass. You'll get immediate access when you sign up, when you click the link below. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Time to go out there and achieve our goals. Let's set some goals like a millionaire. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And if you want even more tips like this, or you want to see how I implement this in my actual life, you can follow me on Instagram where I share those behind the scenes. If you want even more information, make sure that you are subscribed to my podcast. It's the Courtney Sanders Show on both iTunes and Spotify. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.